This plane will fly from Miami to London in 1 hour. This and 4 other things are about to make it really unaffordable down here in Florida. You won't believe it. I'm gonna explain how these 5 things are gonna have a direct impact on home prices in Florida. If you're new to my channel, I'm Grant Warrington. I retired early thanks to real estate investing, and now I get to live where I'm happy. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can explore paradise with me. Let's jump in. The first cool thing is jet engines, man. I've always been excited about these. When I was a crane operator back in Michigan, I got called out onto a job at the Detroit Metropolitan Airport, or DTW. And when I got there with the crane, they said, hey, we're gonna have to take a jet engine off a commercial airliner, set it aside, take this new jet engine off this metal stand and put it on the wing of the commercial airliner. I was like, okay, cool. How much does this thing cost? And they told me $1 million. So I got to sit there, watch them. Everything had to be so precise, and I got an up close view of this engine. And ever since then, I've loved them. And now there's a company coming to Jacksonville, Florida, that's got a new jet engine technology that when this engine is built, it's gonna take you from New York City to London in 90 minutes. Take a look.
Yeah, which means it would be 5 times the speed of sound, cutting down that trip across the Atlantic, which would normally take 7 hours to, like we said, just an hour and a half. And they're gonna do it with an engine that sounds a little bit like this.
That thing is badass. And for a comparison here, Mach 1 is the speed of sound. The speed of sound is 767 miles per hour. So Mach 5 is 5 times that. And that's actually 3,836 miles per hour. This thing is smoking. Like he said, it's gonna cut a 7-hour trip down to an hour and a half.
That is video of Hermeus testing its F100 engine. The company says the ability to connect cities faster will benefit the global economy. Hermeus is based in Atlanta, but is now expanding to Jacksonville to test hypersonic technology. It will invest $135 million into the project, with $2 million in incentives coming from the city of Jacksonville. And the company plans to bring 100 full-time jobs to the area by the end of 2028.
Great job to the city of Jacksonville for getting this company and for the 100 jobs coming their way. Even though this is going to be a huge advancement for commercial air travel, do you remember the Concorde? That was a jet that started up service in 1976, and it did Mach 2, or 1,354 miles per hour. Now, they shut it down in 2003 because the ticket prices were extremely expensive and not everybody could afford to fly on it. And the maintenance and cost of the airplane, they said, was just out of control. But think about this. From the time the Wright brothers flew their first airplane to the time we landed on the moon with a space shuttle was 66 years. And that was an absolutely incredible advancement in technology. My major concern is we've really had no other advancement since then in these jet engines. So why hasn't this technology continued to grow? Shouldn't we be flying like Mach 10 by now, or have some other form of propulsion? Something to think about. Number 2 is helicopters. So I had a mentor when I was starting out as a real estate investor. He was farther along than I was and owned more properties. So he kind of took me under his wing and told me what the steps I needed to take to be successful. Now that was back in 2015. If you fast forward to today, things are much different for both of us. Actually, they're a lot better for him. He's got a private plane and a helicopter today. I got a chance to go up in it with him one day, and there is nothing cooler being 100 feet above the ground. Man, you can see everything. We actually landed at a local real estate investor event that was being held at an airport, and everybody in the hangar came out to see what the hell was going on. And I kind of felt like a big deal, which I wasn't. Everybody knew it wasn't my helicopter. Which brings me to the next big thing coming to Florida, AAM, Advanced Air Mobility.
This looks like something you might have seen in the Jetsons. These renderings from FDOT and their aviation partners show what the future of travel could look like in Florida.
It's going to really change not just how we travel, but it's going to change aviation for us.
I spoke to FDOT's Assistant Secretary Kim Holland about emerging technology called Advanced Air Mobility, or AAM.
Similar to a helicopter. So you'll see them taking off like a helicopter, but then also flying like a plane. And they're really made for those shorter regional trips.
These things would be awesome. I'm sure somebody's going to develop an app for these things too, so we can just punch it in our phone and take a little helicopter home from the airport. I'm all about this, but I've been disappointed before. I'll talk about that in a minute.
Running on batteries with electric motors, these aircraft take off and land vertically and could take riders and cargo between different destinations, called vertiports.
We do anticipate seeing passenger travel. So we'll see people possibly flying from Tampa to St. Pete or even Miami to Fort Lauderdale.
All right, now she's speaking my language, Tampa to St. Pete. The cool thing is with Tampa, we have TPA, that's the major international airport. And just across the bay, we have the Albert Whitted Airport. That's right in the heart of downtown. So I could see you arriving at the airport, jumping in this little craft and taking it over to the airport in St. Pete, and you're right in the heart of the city.
That certainly beats the bridges during rush hour.
No more half-hour commute or waiting in traffic to try to get back to St. Pete. This thing would be awesome. So Florida's saying they want to lead this type of technology, but again, like I said, I've been disappointed before. You remember Back to the Future? I'm sure you've seen that movie. I remember when that thing came out. I've been hearing since then, when did it come out, in like 84, something like that? I've remembered since then that we're getting hoverboards. Do you have a hoverboard? I don't own a hoverboard. That is my number one complaint. I love that movie. I was told I'm getting a hoverboard. I still don't have one to this day. So that's why I'm upset. And Florida, do not trick me with this. I bought into the hoverboard conspiracy. I don't want to buy into this yet. But if it does come, I'm excited and I'll be on board. Okay, Back to the Future rant over. Let's get back to it. The third coolest thing happening in Florida right now has to do with video games. Now, do you remember The Legend of Zelda? Like, I played Super Mario Brothers. That was cool. But when The Legend of Zelda came out, I remember, like, that was next level. I'd never seen anything like that in my life. I remember being scared when you'd go into the little castles or whatever they were. I forget the name of the little caves. And they'd play that creepy music. I love that, man. I love that game. I was addicted to video games from then on. I don't play anymore, but that was something special and I'll never forget it. So the Sandbox VR just opened on Central in the Grand Central District in St. Pete. And 5 of my buddies and me went to play. Now this is a virtual reality game and you can see we got the headsets on, we got the earpieces on, and everything you're about to see is what I actually saw in the game. So they made this video for us and they show from 2 different perspectives. They show us, like you can see here, right, outside of the game in real life. And then they show the exact same thing that we're seeing inside the game and they record it all. It's really amazing. I mean, I'm looking up and I can see the helicopter flying over top of me. I can see we jump into a truck. It was incredible. It was an awesome experience. I think it was only like $35. So if you're in St. Pete or anywhere else and you hear this, you need to try this. But be warned, when we went in here, you could see other people playing too, and you got to hear them. And there were people screaming, man. It was crazy. And the guy strapping us up and strapping us in was like, listen, man, it's pretty normal for people to freak out and start screaming because it really does look that real. Now, I didn't scream, at least it's not on video, so you can't prove it.
Yet. Oh, shit.
The fourth coolest thing going on in Florida happens to be in my hometown, St. Pete, and it's baseball. Baseball's been a huge part of my life, and this is the actual baseball I got from my first game at Tiger Stadium. And it says here, I don't know if you can read it, 9/28/81, Baltimore 7, Detroit 3. So the Tigers did lose that day. My dad took me, I was 6 years old. He also took my aunt and my cousin. We were sitting up in the second deck on the right field line at Old Tiger Stadium, and my aunt's yelling to the right fielder. And if you know my aunt, man, she can whistle too. That guy looks up and she yells, "Give us the ball." He blasts the ball up there. She catches it. We try to fight her for it, and she gives it to my dad. We forget about it, watch the game, have a great time. Game's over. I had no idea, but after we got home, my dad gave the ball to me. I've had it ever since. So when we first started talking about moving to St. Pete, I had no idea that the Tampa Bay Rays actually played in downtown St. Pete, not Tampa. And when I heard they were going to build a brand new $1.3 billion ballpark for the Rays, I was sold, man. That's something I want to be around. This new ballpark's part of an 86-acre redevelopment that's going to cost a total of $6 billion, and it's right in the heart of St. Pete. This is going to bring shopping, restaurants, retail, office space, and apartment buildings to the community. They're planning on throwing out the first pitch in 2028, but the whole project won't be done for years after that. This is going to dump a ton of money back into the local economy, and it'll make sure that St. Pete is a destination for years to come. The next coolest thing happening is cruise ships. Now, I'll be honest, I haven't been on a cruise ship since I was a senior in high school. It was our senior class trip for spring break, and it was a complete debauchery. I was 18 years old and in the process of developing a drinking problem back then. Good news is I do not drink anymore today, but that's a whole nother video. But I love living in a city that has cruise ships coming in and out of port. The city of Tampa just expanded their cruise line and they added this ship. Check it out.
Welcome home to Port Tampa.
She looks spectacular.
The views of Margaritaville at Sea Islander are cool from the air, but on board, oh boy, it's even better.
We couldn't be more delighted.
The ship accommodates more than 2,600 passengers with redesigned staterooms, 12 decks, 12 restaurants, a casino, and 13 bars. And if you're wondering,
it's always 5 o'clock at sea.
The ship looks so cool. Now, the margarita ship might not be for me because, like I said, I'm not a big partier and I don't drink. But I do love the look of it. I think they've done a great job with it, and they have all kinds of other options for kids or just adults. It's very cool, and I love the fact it's right over the bridge from St. Pete.
There's tons for kids to do, like over here in the This and That activity area, and this cool water slide, and much more.
We have received such an incredible warm welcome into Tampa Bay.
The addition of this ship means 7 ships will now be calling Port Tampa home. The port says this will help them reach a record of over 1.5 million passengers cruising from here. And they estimate the cruise industry will now bring in about $626 million a year and hundreds of new jobs.
So you can see a theme here with all these new jobs that are getting added to the area, which is fantastic for the local economies. Port Tampa Bay is doing so well, they're moving forward with new plans to build a new terminal. I got a buddy that goes on these cruises all the time, and he tells me about all the entertainment, the casino, all the cool stuff to do, and of course, the food. I will be jumping on one of these ships soon, and I'll make a video about it. I love the fact that it's so close that I can be to the ship and then back home in no time. If you take anything away from this, it's life's too short. Move somewhere that gets you as excited about where you live as I am. I did it, and I know you can too. And I mentioned earlier that these 5 cool things have something to do with real estate, and here it is. All 5 of these things are creating new jobs and improving their local economy. This keeps the real estate in these areas in high demand because we're constantly seeing people want to move here because it's paradise. And it shows me as an investor then I can expect to see the property values in, say, St. Pete, where I live, to keep going up. So if you decide to grab life by the short and curlies and move, it's things like this you need to be looking for. Want to take the first step? Plan that vacation you've been putting off and come on down to St. Pete. I got a ton more videos on here of great things to do when you're here. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to subscribe to my channel and like this video. This lets YouTube know that you thought my video was valuable and they'll share it with more people. I got another video right here I know you're gonna love. Click this video and I'll see you there.